Hello, welcome back to our discussion on the law of karma, destiny and choice. Today we will be looking at the interesting subject of what is freedom. I have in the studio with me Sister Denise, who has been sharing with us her wisdom and understanding on the law of karma. Hello and welcome back.
Hello, thank you.
So, Sister Denise, freedom. Wars have been fought because of freedom. People have lost their lives in and out of wars because of freedom. People have changed their lives, their countries, their everything in the quest for freedom. Why is freedom so important to us as human beings?
We need to put it in terms of its opposite, which is bondage. And bondage is something that people really do not like. It's natural for a soul to be free.
What do you mean by bondage?
Imprisonment, being limited in where you can go, what you can do, where you can live, being prevented from expressing yourself. You're not allowed to speak, you're not allowed to write, you're not allowed to do or go where you want to go, or you cannot do what you want to do, where your rights are being violated. You do not have freedom of choice, you do not have freedom of religion. If you look at something like the Declaration of Human Rights, if you enjoy your rights, you feel free. If you are denied your rights, you feel bondage, you feel suppression, oppression, limitation. You feel that you are being used and abused, and you react against that. And it's a very big subject because exploitation.
When a human being creates negative karma, how does that contribute to our loss of freedom?
There are many different kinds of negative karma. There's an expression that's used in Indian spiritual vocabulary, Jivan Mukti. You experience freedom in life. And there's another expression, Mukti, which means that you are free from life. Many people who have experienced a lot of difficulties because of karmic consequences experience every step of their life to be bondage, oppression, limitation, and so they want out. And these people are looking for mukti. That means you return to nirvana, where you are in a state of complete silence. In Raj Yoga, what I am practicing, that is not the goal. The goal is to be able to live in your body, in your community, in the world, where you are free to be who you are, and you are free from the limitations that are imposed by different forms of settlement of karma. For example, if you are ill and you are limited by your health issues, if you are not very clever, is also a consequence of karma. You haven't used your intellect properly, so you lose it. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yes, that too.
Okay. Newsflash.
If you are physically not very beautiful, there's also karma. Nobody likes you, you're too ugly, whatever.
Painful stuff, this.
Ooh, karma, bondage.
Bondage, right.
So freedom is where whatever is balance, a perfect balance, where you have good relations, good health, wealth, you are free to do whatever you want, and what you happen to want also happens to correspond with pure karma. Circumstances are favorable, there are no problems, your creativity knows no limits. This is Jivan Mukti, you see. And this is earned. So you have to earn your freedom. You spoke about people fighting and dying, you know, and you fight for your freedom. Sometimes it doesn't result in freedom because you use violence. I think this is why Gandhi wanted to achieve the independence in India and self-rule in India through the use of non-violence, because he knew that if they engaged in violence, then that would be negative karma, and that would result in suffering, which is exactly what happened. You have to really know the laws of karma well and apply them well, and as you do it, as well as your yoga, you finish off all of the debt, and you pay your debt through different forms of bondage. So you may have a family situation where you're not allowed to go where you want to go, you can't wear what you want to wear, you can't eat what you want to eat. It's not up to you whether or not you have a child, whether or not you abort your child. You know, this is all sorts of bondage that is imposed on people. A lot of women have a lot of imposed bondages on them in traditional societies.
I want to take up another aspect. Spirituality, and specifically Raj Yoga meditation, involves some sort of obedience, does it not?
Obedience is for, you know, when you're training dogs.
That is funny.
But look, you know, we're adults.
Yeah.
We have rights. If I say, okay,
Training dogs.
it's called obedience training, you know.
Okay.
Sit, stand, you know, left, right, soldiers maybe. But why do I need to develop myself through obeying somebody? I need something different.
When I asked the question of obedience, I meant obedience to God.
Even then, you see, God does not make me into a slave, because God is the one who provides me with my freedom, and it's incompatible. What God will say to me is, okay, hey soul, here you are with all sorts of bondages and you love freedom, so let me give you a nice recipe for freedom. And if you follow this recipe, you will get nice results. It's entirely up to you whether you follow it or not. That's not obedience. It's completely contrary to the dignity. If God says you are my child, it's not about obedience. It's about relationship. If God has some recommendation for me, He will give it to me, and I will evaluate it, and I will follow it if I feel like it. You know, it's not obedience. In every step in my relationship with God, as a student, I will listen carefully. I will try to interpret it. I will try to understand what this means, what this implies. I will see what's to my advantage, and I will do that. That doesn't involve obedience. Obedience is when you do something against your will because somebody else has power over you. That's obedience.
Another aspect that puts a lot of people off about spirituality, and specifically the Brahma Kumaris, is things like the attire. That do you have a choice? Does spirituality offer you the choice as to what you can wear and not wear? Whether you wear your hair like that or not? Whether you have a choice about who you interact with or not? Or is it up to the individual?
It has to be up to the individual. I mean, this is the traditional uniform of the Brahma Kumaris, including hairstyle, you know, and I will wear it because this is the nature of my relationship with the organization. But at no point can it be said that if I don't want to, that I can't not, you know. I'm not in prison. I don't wear prison clothes.
Your definition of freedom is different from anyone else's, I've heard.
Really?
Yeah. When you speak of freedom, it's mental freedom, is it not?
Mental freedom is extremely important. I think with freedom also comes responsibility. So we need to understand about the relationship between freedom and fulfilling disciplines, because if you're disciplined, you earn your freedom. If you're responsible, you earn your freedom because people trust you.
Sister Denise, I take my mind back to university psychology. My mind specifically goes to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the first tier spoke of security. And that is a primal need for each and every one of us on the planet. And our security comes from a sense of belonging to the people we love the most. For many, freedom is the ability to be with whomever we choose, but also we let go of our own freedoms because we want to be entangled, enmeshed, and that with other people. So we sacrifice our little freedoms because it's nice to be two and not one, or three, or four if you're in a loving family relationship.
Yes, there's always compromise, and it depends on the individual very much. I personally never feel insecure.
You're an exception then.
Probably.
Because most people I know, both highly educated and professional people, male and female, to young children, feel insecure in some area of their lives.
You know, I'm a person for whom many levels of freedom are very, very important. I enjoy roaming around the whole world because I feel at home everywhere. I have good relations with many people. I feel easy wherever I am. I have this sense that, you know, if I have a need, it will be attended to, and I've always experienced that it is. And it may be something connected with my attention on trying to do good karma so that I have good relations and everything is in good order. You know, I value my freedom of thought. I don't like to be limited or restricted or told you can't do this and you can't do that. I don't relate well to restrictions. It is said in the Bhagavad Gita that God loves those who love solitude. And I'm actually quite interested in solitude. I do a lot of my work in solitude.
Why does God love those who love solitude?
It is said that if you love solitude, you're free to go to God more often, more easily than those who are caught up in all kinds of other things, you know. I am probably less social than most people. I've often been classified as mysterious and inaccessible, including by you. So everyone is different, of course. This freedom from all of the limitations that people have, that they have, you know, compromised their freedom. I avoid that if possible, because I see it as limitation to my freedom.
If one understands the law of karma properly, how does one use that understanding to attain freedom on all levels that matter.
When you know the laws of karma, you know that the purpose of knowing the laws of karma is to make sure that you come in profit. You're in the black in relationships, you're in the black with your body, you're in the black with matter, you're in the black with success.
In the black, in this context, means
Your credit.
as opposed to being in the red.
Yes.
Right, okay. People get confused about your use of colors.
Yeah, it just means that you created credit, lots of credit. If you have that wealth of pure karma, it gives you unlimited freedom to be and do what you wish. And if what you wish is always from this angle of love for God and love for humanity and deep love for the self, then you become fulfilled, you see. So I think freedom is a way to arrive at fulfillment. So for me, this is high priority.
Within Raj Yoga meditation, there are a lot of words that go towards regulating one's relationship with one's body. On one hand, we're living in the body and need it for all the obvious reasons, but on the other hand, the advice is not to be trapped by it. That is not an easy concept to understand, and even once one has understood it, it becomes even more difficult to practice it. And I'm asking you this question in this context because freedom from the body comes to mind. Walk us through that real slow.
In meditation, you go beyond the body and you come back. You must understand about disciplines of lifestyle, because anyone who is really well disciplined has tremendous freedom. You have a lot of excess time, energy, all the things that people say they don't have. If you do have proper discipline, you have it. It's a great wealth. If you push yourself too hard, you'll pay. If you're too lazy, you'll pay. So you're almost like a balance, like a tightrope walker. Mm-hmm. So everything is exactly right, and you're going along this edge, which is exactly correct, and you are soaring, you know. This is freedom.
How does a spiritual person then feel about their body, and how do you use it in a spiritually accurate manner? I'm asking this, Sister Denise, because this costume can become a prison.
I've had discussion with a good Raj Yogi friend of mine who also talks about the mind, because this is a person who has many health issues, and she says, regardless of what constraints are imposed by my body, my mind is good. My mind is free, my thoughts are pure, everything at the level of the mind is very good, and because of that, the limitations of bodily health don't bother.
That's a powerful soul.
Yeah.
So within the practice of Raj Yoga meditation, how does God offer one freedom?
What he says is that a lot of these things that you consider to be providing you security are actually taking away your freedom. And so it's because you don't really love your freedom, and that you have too much worries about security, that you are not really taking advantage of the freedom that is being offered. Freedom to be, freedom to go anywhere, to do anything, to be with anyone who you really want to be with or what you really want to be doing. Freedom to create the great fortune for yourself, where your quality of life is rich with the depth of meaning, and your spirit, yourself, is free. And this is what God is offering. Freedom in life.
There are individuals who are free on the outside, but who have a variety of mental constraints, who are in bondage, to use a term that you used earlier, to their past, who are not free from their past, who are not free from the people around them, and who are not free as far as their decision-making capacity is concerned. Externally, they may seem free, but internally not. How does one become free on that level, on a thought level?
Well, to me, that's the essence of freedom. You have to make peace with your past, you have to go through your pain and face whatever has to be faced, and every time you do this, you get free. I mean, this is the price of freedom.
Easier said than done, Sister Denise. How does one forget one's past, especially if it's filled with pain and trauma?
I don't think you forget it. I think that you lay it to rest. I think that you don't mind about it, that you let it be whatever it is. It is what it is. You don't think about it. You're not obsessed with it. It is what it is. Okay, let go. Move on. Once you have worked through your pain, it doesn't have you in its grip.
That is a very powerful line. Very powerful.
And so earning your freedom is a big piece of work, and that's why there's not many free people, because it's a lot of work. And just having a fight with somebody doesn't make you free.
I guess not. The other mental blockage I referred to was the freedom to make decisions. I've encountered people who have told me, I cannot make a decision by myself. I'm referring to adults. They told me that I need the assistance of this one and that one to help me make a decision. That's a type of prison, is it not?
Yeah, it's somebody who never asserted themselves. You know, you have to cut the umbilical cord at some point.
Ouch! That's a bit painful to hear. Yeah.
That's what it is. You know, you have to understand you are on your own.
Why is that so difficult for people to understand?
They're scary.
For many, Sister Denise, there is no I. There's just we and us. That's their entire reality. And they love it.
There are many cultures like that. I know that in 2004, when there was this very big tsunami that hit Indonesia and southern India, and there was an individual man who was the only survivor in his village in Aceh in Indonesia. And with being the only survivor, he lost his identity because there was only we and us. There's no I. And in the culture of the West that I come from, and I spent many, many years in the United States, where rugged individuality is considered very good. Knowing that there is I, and I have to deal with that, actually strengthens you. If there's only we, and in reality you have to die alone, which is only I, and then you want to make yourself free, so it's I and God, and everything else is secondary.
That's beautiful. I and God. Okay, so I think that's an equally beautiful note on which to end today's chat. Thank you. Thank you. This has been quite enlightening, and for many, I think, eye-opening. Eye-opening, because there are many individuals who are not sure what spirituality is and who do not know the true meaning of freedom. And Sister Denise has shared with us answers to questions that you may or may not have had. And I do hope that you are able to look into your own heart today and into your own life and ask yourself the iconic question, am I free? And do I want to be? Thank you so much for joining us. We are looking forward to having you here again for the next episode on the series, The Law of Karma, Destiny and Choice. Take care and cheers.